Okay, this is living a cookie cutter lifestyle. Okay, so let's just see what this video is going to say for someone out there. Okay, this could be for any sign though, because I don't have signs connected. Okay, so we have right here that you caring for your ex's children that are a burden to you. So you got a water view of what that feel like in your emotions. Maybe feeling emotional about it, just in your feelings about it, letting it hold you back. You're a female. So we have you having more friends jealous of you than what you think, okay? So you might be dealing with or will deal with somebody who got a race problem, okay? You're not getting equal pay or bonuses maybe at work. So we have with this one, you're going to be adapting to your neighbors that wants, and you're just falling by the wayside, okay? So we have waiver. Something might get waived, not waiver, something going to get waived, waived. Maybe your pay, maybe your a bonus at work, maybe some problems with your neighbor, maybe some work money or whatever this is. Okay? You stand in a pit and in a ditch, maybe as far as a job or neighborhood or whatever this is. Doing an outing, let's just say. Let's go. Because you wanted something to be your anchor, or you look at something as being your anchor, right? In a position. So maybe it's a job, maybe it's a neighborhood, or whatever this is. You looking at it as your anchor, right? The position, whatever you hold, or what position you are in. So if you like caring for your ex's children, but it's a burden to you, that's like your anchor, right? If it's a job some kind of way and you're not getting paid your bonuses and your equal wages, that's an anchor. You stand in that position for a reason. And if it's neighbors, you're dealing with neighbors who you might have a racial problem with, or you want to get some racial problems from, right? But for some reason, you just letting yourself fall by the wayside, not expressing, not getting them straightened out or anything, because you want it to be where you are anchored, where no problems come between you and your neighbors, while any of your feelings just fall to the wayside. Okay, so we have this one. You refusing to grow strong in any of these situations you heard me saying. You're going to go through torture if you haven't already, right? So it's some doorbell action going on, some proof as far as something with you, with your neighbors. If not with your neighbors, some kind of camera as far as in the household with you and the children that you are caring for, or you in the job. That means there's some kind of cameras at work, proof some kind of way that's on camera, okay? If not a doorbell camera. Because you are the best man for the job, right? Or you the best woman for the job if you can for your ex's children. You the best man for the job if it's you dealing with an actual job. Or you are the best man at a job if it comes down to dealing with your neighbor, right? Your neighbors, right? Because if they've been spewing out racial remarks and all, and you just been falling by the wayside, and that is not expressing and letting them get away with it, you are the best man for the job, because some people don't tolerate that, okay? But you want to have an anchored position in your neighborhood, stay in your neighborhood, don't get ostracized and whatever else. So you just keeping your mouth shut, and that's not healthy. Okay, you are locked, or you're going to get locked up in a prison. So if you're not going to jail, or you don't want to go to jail because you don't want no confusion with your job or with your neighbors, we're going to take it with you locked up in your mind, and it's like a prison because you're not being able to express what you want to, as far as, or make happen at work what you want to happen as far as equal pay or your bonus, or with your neighbors. You got to keep your mouth shut to keep the peace, or dealing with you caring for an ex's child or children, and you just tolerating everything because you need to stay in your position and be anchored and have a home to live in, or whatever's going on here. So all these people are taking you for a joke. So whichever direction it goes, your boss, your neighbor, or your actual person you have, who kids you are caring for, okay? So we have somebody is naughty toward you, whoever it may be, or you just don't want to be naughty. So naughty for you would be you don't want to feel like you're coming off aggressive and mean, or we have somebody who is naughty to you out of a boss, your ex in general, whoever that is, or your neighbors, right? Or one neighbor. You playing in the devil's playground with all of these situations. So we have, you might have been body shamed by other people at work, your neighbors, your ex in general. Okay? A lot of time to think before or after. So you had a lot of time to think before taking an action, as far as your neighbors, with whatever they may be saying, racial or body shaming, or somebody at work. You got a time to think before you take some kind of action, as far as your boss not paying you and giving you your bonus, or dealing with your ex-children or child. You got a lot of time to think before you take any kind of action. Okay? So, things is getting on your nerves. Someone seems very smart. Right? No need to play dumb. So, you are very smart. But God don't want you to play dumb, because you know what's going on in any of these situations you heard me say. So you aiming your anger on a man or on a woman, but it's not on a person that it should be aimed toward. Or somebody coming your way with it, right? At a house. If not at a house, at work or wherever, okay? Because can you get a good neighbor? A neighbor who's kind, a neighbor who's considerate, a boss that's kind, a boss that's considerate, or the children are a burden, so they might not be considerate. I just don't know. Right, so you have to stop allowing things to pile up to a hill. Because if you got a lot of things going on in whatever area in your life, you're letting it pile up like a hill. And then that's usually when people explode, when they just take so much. So you need to sit down and discuss matters with whoever you got a problem with. If it's neighbors, if it's your boss about pay, about bonuses, if it's your neighbor as far as racial abuse, or you just letting them just say everything they want, and you just pushing your feelings to the side because you want to stay anchored in the community, and you want to keep your position in the community, or we dealing with an ex of yours children that you are caring for, You have to just let it out, your emotions out, your feelings out, and just tell whoever what you have to tell them. Because it's going to be wartime for you in any of these situations. Wartime on any of your negatives, because some kind of way you're going to explode, because it's going to turn into a mountain. It's going to get all the way up like a hill. Okay? So, robbery and stealing of money or items. So some kind of way you might be approached about stealing of money or items, or your neighbor from you, your boss from you, the children that you are caring for from you. Okay? It's going to be too late, because you're not dealing with ordinary people. Okay? You can't just make this something that's normal. You got to get to the bottom of it. It's a lovely day, right? Or pick a lovely day to decide to stand front and center on any of these situations you heard me say, as far as you at work, as far as you with a neighbor, or as far as you and an ex and you are caring for his children. So that would be maybe your ex-husband, but the children are not yours, maybe. Anything like that. Regardless of complications, you need to start moving on and get out of any of these situations. Pick a lovely day to do it, though. Sit down and talk, and then make your move, okay? Having a child by somebody, and you holding on to that person because you have a child. You no longer love the person, but this person is holding you back. Okay? Because you want to be loyal, right? So that's why you're doing it. I see the word move again. You're going to have to move away from that. You can't just have yourself stuck in a situation. You know, when it's time to move on, it's time to move on from whatever situation. When it's time to talk, it's time to talk. When it's time to discuss, it's time to discuss a situation, straighten it out, and get to the bottom of it. Don't let it turn into a hill. Don't let it turn into a mountain. Because I said 3 things so far. Somebody having a problem with their neighbor. Really, your neighbors don't think it's a problem somewhat, but it is to you, because you've been keeping your mouth shut and not addressing and not standing up to your neighbors, because you want to keep your position in the neighborhood. Yeah, you want to keep your position in the neighborhood. You want to seem like you no trouble, you upstanding, you delightful and everything. So they just saying all they saying, doing all they doing, bossing you around or whatever else they doing, and you just letting your feelings fall to the wayside. Whatever things you have in your mind is not getting out, because you won't let it come out. Or we're dealing with you as far as a job and your boss is not paying you right, equal pay, or your boss is not giving you the bonuses you deserve, or we're dealing with just an ex in general, ex-husband, and you are caring for his children that are a burden to you because they are not your children, and you want to be loyal, want to represent loyalty to him. I guess that you'll still care for his children because they are part of him, or that you still love him or whatever, but God's saying it's time to move on in any of these situations. But you got to do the talking first, and then you move on, okay? No moving on before talking, okay? You got to discuss the matter and make people aware of what they done wrong or what your feelings are, okay? So this is one for the cookie cutter lifestyle, okay? So let's go to another one.